Number one, the player must know you love him and you care about him. If he thinks for 1 minute that you don't give a shit about him, when times get tough, you know what he's going to tell you? Thank it, okay? He's got to know you care about him. Just like a parent, tough love. You either coaching it or you allow it. You know, you hear Saban say that all the time. But he was great at being accountable. And look, man, we were simple. We were simple on defense. We were simple on offense. We had players and we executed.
I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, that's just how it was, man.
And look, if you couldn't take it, get out.
Get out.
They had the same NIL budget when we were playing. We just couldn't. Back then, we had to walk through the back door with cash. Now we can walk through the front door with cash.
Yeah, well. So today on the Matthews Mentality Podcast, I'm your host, Kyle Matthews. And for the first time ever, we got a co-host, the notorious Bill Peterson. Bill, for the audience, Bill is a very high up executive at Matthews. Bill and I have worked together for over a decade. And I'm about to tell you why Bill is getting the honor and the privilege of co-host. And this is like the worst thing in the world for Bill, a very shy guy. He's super excited to be here. But the reason Bill's here with me today is because I am joined by the Coach Ed Orgeron, Louisiana native, known everywhere as Coach O. And Bill, the only recruiting battle Coach O has ever lost is to me. You don't know this. So Bill worked for Coach O at the SC athletic department. Coach O left SC and was about to start at LSU, and he was recruiting Bill to join him at LSU. I was recruiting Bill to join me at Matthews in real estate. I won the battle.
Good job. hey, but I promise you had the champion on your side. You had Catherine on your side.
That's right.
You're smarter. You're smarter to get that done.
I had his amazing wife, Kat, on my side. She knows talent when she sees it. But so Coach O is the former head coach at LSU, where he led the Tigers to a perfect 15-0 season, the 2019 national championship, earning National Coach of the Year honors across the board. Coach O's journey started at Northwestern State, amongst many stops, Miami, 2 stops at USC, Tennessee, and LSU. Served as the head coach at Ole Miss, was the interim coach at USC in 2013, took over LSU in 2019, and again won the championship in 2016, won the championship in 2019. He's known for many things, including elite recruiting, defensive line development, and a culture that brings out the best in players. Story starts in the Bayou in La Rose. Is that how they pronounce it?
La Rose, yeah.
La Rose. And reaches the top of the sport with lessons in leadership, accountability, and building champions. But before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Matthews Mentality Podcast. Coach O, I am so excited to have you. I've been looking forward to this a long time, brother.
Good to see you guys. Hey, I'm so proud of you guys, man. The success you've had and the grown men, the parents that you are. But you know what? It's a product of all of us. Went through Coach Carroll's program, USC's program, and they made men out of us all.
No, I agree. And sometimes when they ask us questions, I speak for myself so much of what I credit was my time under Coach Carroll, under you, and just that environment. Now, I'm going to start off with a hard-hitting question. You ready? Who wins, 2004 USC or 2019 LSU?
Well, I'm going to tell you this right now, okay? I think 2004 was a great, well-rounded football team from top to bottom. But I don't think we'd have lost the game with Joe Burrow. We'd have outscored anybody. Now, the scores might have been 51-50, but I do believe with the offense that we had, we could have outscored everybody.
All right. See, I got my SC hat. I thought you were going to say USC. No, but we had a defense. What did we kept average rush yards less than 2 per carry, and we scored. Yeah. Your offense at LSU was special. Defense, though, it was okay. I admit it.
I think 2004 from top to bottom was well-rounded, but the offense that we had with the spread offense and the one-on-ones with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson would have been hard to stop.
But it's hard to throw to Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson as good as Joe Burrow, and when that SC D-line with Coach O as their D-line coach was getting after him. Yeah. Is that safe to say?
Throw it quick.
All right, who wins SC, LSU, or your best Hurricanes team?
I get that a lot. And, it's funny, I didn't get a chance to watch the 2001 Hurricane team. Because I'm at SC, we busting our tail, and we're focused in on what we had to do. So, and we built on the program with Coach Carroll. But those guys had some studs, man. I think they had some studs. But again, I don't think, now it's been a high scoring game, but we wouldn't go get outscored.
The 2019 team.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, especially at receiver and quarterback, those were special players. Let me ask you, across your career as a coach, what does make a team special to go on those runs like you did in 2019?
Yeah, I think the culture led by the head coach. You know, to be a tremendous head coach, you have to be a leader of men. In order to be a leader of men, you got to be a man. And Coach Carroll was. But, when we went to work, it's like everybody drank the tea, man. We all felt good. We all were in it. We all were working together, and it was kumbaya, man. But we had great talent. Coach Carroll knew how to get great talent and coach them. The one thing people don't understand about Coach Carroll, he's a strict disciplinarian. I mean, you got to do it right. And you got to compete. You got to do it right. And when we went at night to watch the film, he's the best I've ever seen. We watched every piece of film, and he kind of looked at you like, can't you teach that 5 technique of reach block? But you didn't want to let him down. He had that about you. And we got, as you remember, we got better throughout the season because we coached fundamentals.
I remember one night I was in the defensive backs coach's room watching film late at USC. And I stayed late because I knew Pete was in the defensive meeting room right adjacent to it. I knew he was there, and I was like, I gotta keep staying. I gotta keep staying. So I'm sitting there like watching film. I don't even know if I was really watching at that point. I was just trying to sound. And this was coming off like a big spring game. And our running back, Justin Fargas, you remember Fargas was a mean running back. And all of a sudden I know her, hey, Kyle, yes? Yes, coach. He goes, would you have made that tackle on like play 47 when Fargas, broke it open and cut back? Cause like it wasn't tackle yet. It was like touch. I go, yes, sir. He goes, I don't think you would have. And like, that's all he said. I was like, shit. But I mean, he was up there working. He was watching film.
Detail.
One thing about the culture at SC, I was talking with my brother Clay about this, and I was telling him I was going to sit with you, and he was pretty excited about it. But there's so many aspects to the culture, like whether it's the meeting, the meetings and watching recruits highlights or workouts. But one of the things that was special at USC was the stretch lines. And I remember, first of all, we were talking, I remember you would always, almost every practice is like, grab yourself some of that sweet Bermuda grass. Like, what was your fascination with Bermuda grass?
Hey, it was just to get you guys going, man.
And then you'd yell out like, you just randomly, nobody's talking to you, and you just start yelling out, gator bait. What is gator bait?
Gator bait down here is quarterbacks are gator bait to us.
Oh.
You know what I mean? You take the quarterback and you throw him in the bayou and let the alligator get after him. So I always like to say gator bait. And it meant the quarterbacks are gator bait.
Yeah, I was texting with my brother before this, and like we were laughing about the stretch line, telling stories. And I was like, hey, by the way, you remember him yelling gator bait? He's like, that's all I remember is gator bait. He's like, I don't know what the F that means. I was like, neither do I. I thought it had something to do with Florida or something with your time in Miami.
No, it's the quarterback being thrown in the bayou and being gator bait. So, hey, look, your brother treated those quarterbacks like gator bait, I promise you.
Yeah, he did. But there was you. Then you'd start chirping at Kennedy Pola. And then you think about that coach staff, Norm Chow, KPU, Coach Carroll, but we had Sark, we had Kiffin there. Coach Kiffin was there. I remember Kiff would start talking shit to Norton about his dad getting knocked out by Ali. And then Norton was like talking crap back to him, saying you only have a job because your dad or something. And like Pete Carroll is there the whole time fostering and this is the stretch line in the middle of fall camp, practice number 30 of fall camp, and just getting us as players just jacked up. I mean, was that all by design?
All by design. Energy. Pete wanted energy. Now, we had some characters on the staff, as you well know, but hey, guys, let's rev it up all they have to do is let's rev it up during stretch. I go to some practice today, guys got their hands folded, they're talking on the sideline, they're not coaching their guys. Whoa, that wasn't us. You remember, we tapped in, and as soon as we ran on that field, we were coaching and y'all were working from the time it started to the time it ended.
Yeah, it was intense. You want to talk about the environment at USC and the culture of competition. So, and you could give me maybe the background of how you guys came up with this idea. So spring ball is about to start at 15 practices, and they sit us all down. You guys sit us all down in the team room, and we're sitting there all, 80, 90 players. And Pete gives a speech about spring ball and the importance. Like, guys, this is your showcase, right? This is for you to show us what you're capable of, because we just signed the #1 recruiting class in the country. And in the fall, this was before kids came in early. In the fall, we're going to give them the opportunity. And just to make sure you understand the importance of your platform, your showcase, we're going to show you the highlights of the recruits we signed. And you guys made us sit there for like 45 minutes and you played the highlights of all these 5-star recruits. And we were sitting there just steaming like just dogs, like just, and we had to sit there and watch. And there were some pretty impressive highlights, but that was the culture. That was how it was.
Competition.
Yeah.
Competition's healthy. And he created that culture.
That was him.
That was his idea. No question. But the idea of every rep counts and all that, as a cumulative of the staff, he says, hey, I think it was him say, hey, let's show him the recruiting film. That got your attention.
Yeah, I got it. You got the attention, man. I told that story and the guy who asked was like, are you kidding me? I was like, that's just how it was, man.
And look, if you couldn't take it, get out.
Get out. Yeah. And and if you remember when Pete got in, like back when it was hard to turn the roster, he turned the roster. Yeah. He would meet with you and, like I'd say like 30 of my teammates within 12 months were gone, medical, transferred. I mean, he was very clear in his approach that this is what we're going to be about. And if you don't like it, go find somewhere else to play.
It's not for everybody.
All right. Now you've had a couple years off and we were just talking downstairs. You're ready to get back in.
Ready.
What are you looking for in a job or opportunity?
Yeah. First of all, I cleared the decks. I got 3 boys coaching. I did what I wanted to do. Kyle, nowadays, you've been out 4 years, hey, sure, I'd like to be the head coach at a major university and we can go win championships. Am I going to step into that? I don't know. But it doesn't matter to me if I go at that university, be a D-line coach and do what I did at USC. So I'm looking for a school that gives you a chance to win no matter what position I'm at.
Speaking of wanting to win in a program, the game has, changed completely since I played 20 years ago. But even in the 4 years probably since you led LSU to the national championship, that was probably right around the time of the portal and now NIL. Talk to us about some of the changes you've seen and what that means to a program saying, hey, we're here to win. What do you have to do to win now that might be different? And what is the same?
First of all, you have to accept it. It's here to stay. Players are going to get paid. Players are going to transfer. Those guys that learn how to navigate through that are the ones that's going to have success. Obviously, paying players and paying the right players and having the money is the schools that are going to win. But it's still fundamentals. It's going to get down to fundamentals. It's going to get down to culture and who can put a team together the fastest. It's like coaching an all-star team. A guy may be there for 1 year. That's it. We got to make the best of it.
Just from the layman, from a fan's perspective, and I don't know if these are the real numbers, but like some program has $40 million to spend on a roster. Mm-hmm. Some has 15. It's a lot of money. It's crazy times. But how does a $15 million NIL roster compete against a $40 million over time?
Get the right ones.
Yeah.
And develop and coach them. Look, if that's the hand you dealt with, you got 15, don't bitch about it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's get the right ones and compete at the highest level that we can. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean, look at Indiana. I don't know what his pay scale is. The guy has done a phenomenal job.
Is it Signetti?
Signetti, yes.
Yeah, he has. And they probably don't have the NIL budget. I saw they beat Oregon. Oregon's probably got a lot more money, but
they had the same NIL budget when we were playing. We just couldn't talk about it.
Give us some recruiting stories back and like maybe back before NIL, and you don't have to name names or programs, but like what were some of the schools that you found to be, or coaches that you found to be really tough to recruit against for whatever reason, other than of yourself, of course?
Well, look, when you're at LSU, you got to stop Alabama from coming in, and Saban's a great recruiter. You got to stop him from coming get your players. And he was at LSU, and he wanted to I wanted to build a fence around LSU. And I built a total fence, but at the end, we started winning more than we were losing. We didn't want to lose a bunch of our players to him. When we got to USC, we had to recapture Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. Guys were going to Florida State, Notre Dame. Yeah. And y'all remember this. Our biggest recruit was Sean Cody.
Yeah.
And we got him to stay home. So capturing your hometown. Now, look, I've had guys on my sofa ask me for crazy stuff. And I've heard some crazy things in recruiting. Jokingly, they say, Coach, what's the difference between NIL and the way you recruit? I said, well, back then we had to walk through the back door with cash. Now, and just a joke, now we can walk through the front door with cash.
Yeah, well. Yeah, we got
just a joke.
I didn't get any cash. That's what people are like, oh, you went to SC, you guys got paid. I was like, maybe, but I didn't get paid, man. What made you such an effective recruiter, in your opinion?
You know, Marv Goo, one of the greatest, they buried him on campus at USC. He taught me how to recruit at USC. He said, you go in there, you have everybody in there. You know their first names. Hey, Miss Mary, this is Johnny. Have the sisters there, and you figure out who is the champion. There's going to be a decision-making process. Y'all in business. Y'all have meetings, okay? Everybody thinks they have a little say-so there, a handler here, a coach here. But the one person that young man is going to look at and say, what do you think? You better have recruited that person. And it's usually mama.
I was gonna say,
it's usually mama.
A lot of them, was it the mom?
And that was my key. And constant communication. And you know, God gave us 2 years, man. People want to go in there and brag about them and all that. I went in there and listen. And if you listen, in anything you try to do, people are going to tell you one way or another. And God has given me a sixth sense. I can feel it out. Now, I'm recruiting for USC, so I'm going to go in there. I'm feeling good. You got a great education. You're in Los Angeles. Why not come to USC? You know what I'm saying? But we had to sell that because USC had not had the success.
No, not for a while.
But now, later on, people grew up watching Reggie Bush, Matt Lyon, all you guys, and they wanted that steamroll for us. But we couldn't rely on what happened in the 70s. There was a gap there, so we had to sell.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, there's now another gap that the coaching staff at SC has to and is in the process of figuring out. I remember, so I sat with Pete and we did one of these podcasts about 4 or 5 months ago. That was fun. Yeah, it was fun telling stories. I don't know if you watched it, but I talked to him about SC and it peaked and kind of parted towards the end. And he said, you know, what happened was, and I'm going to paraphrase here, I'd have to go back. He said, you know, we kind of started to lose a little bit of that discipline, a little bit of that toughness. And I said, well, why is that? He's like, well, and he kind of thought, and the first thing he's like, well, we lost Eddie. Like I thought it was the ultimate compliment. Yeah. And then, you know, he touched on a couple other things, but was that something that a guy like Pete Carroll would talk to, hey, Coach, I call you Coach Eddie, I need you to be I need you to be like, I need you, or was that just that's just a natural thing for you?
It was natural for me, but he saw it and he let me do it. And the more I got to know Coach Carroll, the more he trusted me. And he treated me like a head coach. Go do it, Eddie. This is what you know how to do. You go. And he was fine with it. There was no ego with that, you know. And he liked to be the good cop, and he wanted me to be the bad cop. But the things that I could do well, he let me do it. And one of the things that Coach Carroll had a strength of, he figured out what you do well and what you don't do well. Let you do what you do well. If you don't do well, somebody else will do it.
And so yeah, I mean, he definitely comes across. I mean, he is super likable, but behind the scenes, he
what? Hey, and one of you didn't want to let Coach down.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And look, one of the things about being accountable, you know, there's a difference. If you attack problems and not people, you got a chance. And Coach never attacked people. Yeah, hey, Eddie, get that 3 technique fixed. Yes, sir. I'm accountable for that. Instead of attacking the person. And then you'll get resentful and stuff like that. Coach had a great way of handling people. But I'll tell you all this. If it's broke, you got to fix it immediately. But in order to do that, you have to watch the whole film and you have to be knowledgeable. And Pete would not let anything go. I'll be right back. I'm going to talk to the offense. No, we can't do that. I mean, and they were, hey guys, like you said, third on play 47. Hey, what's this left tackle doing? How are we going to fix it? And he was phenomenal at that. And we'd watch film till 11:30 at night. And it was never about our opponent. It was always about our team. And one team, one heartbeat, as you guys know.
Yeah.
He made everybody feel accountable at their job.
I know you've shared this story, so I love it. Tell us about the time you met Pete. You were recruiting, and
I love it, man. Hey, so we have a meeting. Hugh Jackson called me. I'm recruiting Sean Cody, and it's a Sunday night, and we just got our butt kicked by Notre Dame. And he goes, "Hey, man, what you doing?" I said, "I'm going to see Sean Cody tomorrow morning." He goes, "No, you're not." I said, "Why?" I said, "We got a meeting with Mike Garrett." I said, "Why?" So we get fired. I said, "Oh, yeah." I didn't even know. I had no clue. We get fired. So we get there. We meet with Mike Garrett. And he says, "Listen, if y'all want to stay on at USC, I loved USC. I knew with the right guy you could get it. You know what I'm saying? And if y'all want to stay on, go recruit." So I guess there's 9 full-time assistants. I think one went recruit. And I went into schools, and it was like, they started laughing, like, "What are you doing?" Mm-hmm. So I kept on fighting through it for 2 weeks. And people that knew Mike Garrett and the guys in the administration said, "Listen, just keep on recruiting. This is going to be fine." So it was a Saturday night. Now, look, I never said this story publicly. I went to Sean Cody's state championship game. You know, they got a bunch of games, right? How many games we got over there? 4 or 5 state championships. And so I go there. I give a pregame speech. I wasn't supposed to do it, but I did it. I'm fired up, man. So I go up there, and Sean's daddy wanted me to go to Notre Dame.
yeah, the commander,
Big Mike.
Big Mike.
Yeah. So, so I go up there, and, the mama, the grandma,
Big
the
Irish
beautiful
guy,
man. UCLA sitting there and Notre Dame sitting there. I go shake Big Mike's hand. He says, "Get out of here." He didn't shake my hand. I said, "What?" He said, "Coach, you don't have a job. You don't have a coach. And Sean ain't going to USC." Man, the guy from Notre Dame and UCLA, you know how much I hate this, started laughing at me. Mm-hmm. I was happy. So I looked at him. I said, "Big Mike, I'm going to coach as long as I want at USC, and I'm going to coach your son." And I left. It was halftime. I never leave a game at halftime. You know what I said? F it. I'm going up there. I don't have a job. He's right. I don't know who the hell the coach is. I've been recruiting for 2 weeks. I'm going up there and whip some ass. I mean, I was pissed, And I walked up there halfway to that stadium. I said, "You know what? God turned me around, man. I said, get out of here." So I'm going down to 714.
You were going to go back and fight him?
I was going to do something. It wasn't going to be easy. I was going to give a piece of my mind for sure. And however it ended up, something was going to end up. So not Big Mike, but those coaches from Notre Dame and USC. I wouldn't have touched Big Mike. I loved them. And but the other ones, I don't know. I might have headbutted their ass. But anyway, so I'm going down to 714, and Barry Sher calls me. Bernard Roddick goes. He said, "What you doing?" I said, "Yeah, I'm heading home." He says, "Hey, Long Beach Pilot and Loyola's playing in the state championship, Anaheim Stadium. Here to that door. Guess what it is? Anaheim Stadium. I take the exit on 714. I go, I'm up in the stadium. Coach Sheriff said, "Hey, go on the sideline, man. Here." I didn't have no pass or nothing, no credentials, no job. I go on the sideline. It's about 10:30 at night. The fog setting in. Typical Coach Carroll, man. He comes up to me, Orgeron? And Pete Carroll, yeah. He said, "What are you doing here?" I see stuff. I said, "I'm recruiting." He said, "Recruiting for who?" I said, "USC." He said, "Didn't y'all get fired?" I said, AD said if we wanted to stay on, keep on recruiting. I said, "You been recruiting?" "Yeah." He said, "Who's on the team?" There's Darnell Wright. There's Bing, Emmanuel Wright, Darnell, Bing, Herschel Dennis. What was Mercedes Lewis,
Winston,
and Winston, the Fab Five, right?
Yeah.
He goes, "You think they can play at SC?" I said, "Yeah," but I said, "Coach, the tight end going to UCLA." I said, "Why you asking me this question?" He goes, "No, he does that like you dumbass. Don't you get figure out what's going on?" He goes, "Eddie, I'm going to be named the head coach at USC on Monday at 2:30. I immediately said, all I said was this, "Coach, give me your number." He looked at me, I'm kind of forward a little bit, right? I said, "Give me your number." I said, "I got the number 1 player in the country, Sean Cody. I'm going to be at school Monday morning. You're going to be the first one to talk to him." He looked at me and goes, "All right, don't give that to nobody." No. So I called Sunday night. I said, "Coach, tomorrow you're going to get a call." And I said, 7 o'clock for my number. I called because I couldn't go. Big Mike wouldn't let me in the house. So Coach Gato was at lost out. it was his school was 16 miles from USC, right? He was going all the way to South Bend now. So I go to school. I said, Sean, I got a surprise for you. Got on the phone. He said, and coach did a great job. He said, hey, Pete Carroll, I'm a defensive coach. We're going to build our team around you. You're going to be our first major recruit. You're the first guy I talked to. Sean was beaming, man, beaming. So I get on the phone. He goes, hey, Eddie, do you think you can come to my press conference at 2:30? Oh, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
So I go there, and guess what I see? Guys I ain't seen in 2 weeks, man.
Oh, the coaches.
Got suits, got ties. I got my USC shit on. I'm sweating all that. Go in there, and I don't know if you remember, but when they hired Coach, retread, all that kind of bullshit, right? It wasn't good, right?
Yeah, the LA Times weren't the biggest fans of the hire.
That's right. Yeah. So I was sitting there and go, okay, who's going to go in next? So Pete had this little guy walking around, and hey, we're going to meet upstairs. And I looked at him like, who's this guy? Tell us what to do. So we go upstairs. Remember that little staff room we had? Yeah. That was a little ass staff room. It was tiny, yeah. That was tiny. Well, I get there. There's not a damn chair in there, man. I ain't seen nobody in 2 weeks. That darn thing's full. Everybody glad-handed for a job. So I got to sit way back in the corner. Coach Carroll was great. He goes, well, guys, I know there's a lot of great guys on this staff. He goes, but you understand when you become a head coach, I just want to start anew. I'm not keeping anybody. I went, I was the last one to walk out. He goes, all except you, Eddie. Let's get to work. I said, yeah, let's go, baby. And it was me and him for 2 weeks, man. We went out recruiting. I was driving his Mercedes. We were hitting every damn recruit in Southern California, and we got to know each other. But typical Pete Carroll, that was cool.
Yeah, Pete, that's so good. So we're talking about recruiting. We part of the Pete Carroll story was you were recruited. Now I'm gonna bring Bill in this conversation. I mean, you worked for Coach O for a couple of years.
Yeah, about 2 years.
What? You move that mic closer to you. What? Walk us through what was your job? What was it like working for Coach O? And then I want you to touch on what it was like watching him and how he approached recruiting and what you learned from that.
Yeah. So working with Coach, that's how I started at SC, right? I worked for Scoto, remember Scoto? Cutting up film. So all the recruits, right? Just cutting up highlight or game film and making highlight tapes for us to watch. And that's how I got to start working with Coach, just cutting film, talking about recruiting. But the recruiting, like that's something like I never forget, right? Like 2 years of working with you, there's still stuff that I use today, right? Where a lot of my job is recruiting and helping grow our company. It's things that I learned working with you and seeing how you recruited, right? Like a lot of the way we build our recruiting platform, like our touch points are talking about the champion, right? Like that's all stuff that we all,
we gotta start talking to their mamas. We're not doing enough of that.
That's one thing we're not doing. Yeah.
How is Billy working for you?
Outstanding. Hey, Billy was like my son, man.
Yeah.
We had a lot of great conversations. Yeah. And it was, to me, coaching, I love coaching in college because you're like the parent away from home.
Yeah.
Or you're like the parent they never had.
Yeah.
And I was always a father figure, tough, but they knew I loved them. And guys would come talk to me about stuff that I could help them out with. And that was one of the most gratifying deals, to be able to help guys go through some stuff that maybe they couldn't talk to anybody else with, and now to see them have success in life. As well, we tough men. We don't want to admit it, but we need someone to talk to help us through some problems. And me and Billy had a great relationship.
How do you know, and again, from a business perspective, I would say office culture, probably you have less freedom, but football coach, you have a little more freedom to be tough. But how do you know, like, where does to be tough be really hard, but then you know exactly where to kind of stop and pull back and give them a hug every now and then?
I learned if you're attacking problems, accountability and the expectations high, do it like you know how to do it. And don't attack people. And once you do that, it's fine, because everybody's got to be accountable for what they do. And then also, you don't want to be soft neither. I mean, you set the line. If you tell somebody, hey, we starting at 11 o'clock, be early. And if you let somebody walk in your meeting at 11:01 and you don't say nothing, You're wrong as the coach. You got to set the standard. And that stuff, those expectations got to be set. Hey, at practice, we hit, we tap in, we jog on the field. The session, we start working with energy. And the expectations of the coach says you do it. You set the standard. This is the standard of performance that we expect. Nobody else does it. Okay? Coach sets it. Now, the coaches have to go implement it. They got to be the grinders, man. The head coach, and they got to be accountable for that, and then the players do it. Once you get that done, you're in good shape. Now, being tough, that doesn't mean being mean. Being tough means, hey, you hold them accountable. You're a great coach, motivate someone to what they don't want to do.
I remember, so one of the big lines at SC was like, be early, right? It was 15 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, you better start rolling. I tell this story all the time is if you were late to a meeting at USC, you would have to meet you out on the fields at like 5 a.m. and they'd have to roll until they threw up, but they'd have to keep doing it.
Oh.
And my one claim to fame is I was actually never late for a meeting because the thought or the prospect of having to meet you at 5 o'clock in the morning and rolling was like, it just was too scary to me. But is that something that being late to meeting really bothers you? Like that's, yeah.
Disrespectful.
Disrespectful
to the team. And you know how it is. If you let guys, they're going to do it. No. And, I like working in an environment where everybody's accountable. But the coach set the standard. Everybody knew, hey, we meeting at 2:30. We meeting at 2:30. Pete's there early. Everybody's there early. And it got to be where everybody's there early. We're having fun. It wasn't like everybody to be like that. You wanted to go to the meeting and you wanted to be there. And, pre-snap penalties, mistakes on the football field, mental errors, that's all on coaches. You've got the coach started that. Hey, mental errors on y'all. You either coaching it or you allow it. You hear Saban say that all the time. But he was great at being accountable. And look, man, we were simple. We were simple on defense. And we were simple on offense. We had players and we executed.
Yeah, I remember. Obviously wasn't in the coaches' meetings, but certainly as a player with Pete, he never really got mad for penalties that stem from effort. Like you're running full speed, you tackle, you might grab someone's face mask, or you get a little handsy.
Right.
Like he'd coach you up. He'd say, and if you kept doing it, it might be a problem. His issue was if you made a mental mistake, is if you just, if you're on offense and you lined up and it created legal formation, or defense, you had a personal foul after a play. Like that was frustrating to him. So being late to meeting, what are some of your others as a coach, as a leader that, from an advice to players or anyone, just don't do this? Like, what are some things that really piss coaches off?
Hey, sit up straight in the meeting. Big chest, man. We have big chest and big eyes, man. Big chest and big eyes.
Yeah.
You sitting up there as a coach and doing that. Bullshit. You know what I mean? Hey, let's go. Are you into it or not? Take notes. Do the right thing. And, I wanted guys to come around the building to want to be there. I didn't walk around moping and stuff like that. And the one thing that, Coach taught us, hey, man, you're going to go to class. We checked every class, and if you don't go to class, you're going to run. But when we got to the building, it was football time. Man, we had 4 hours. We're here to win. We're here to win. We're here to be great. And the other thing I think is really important about USC and LSU and Miami is follow the traditions.
Yeah.
Honor the traditions. Bring the old players back and learn from them.
One other thing that I know, I'll tell this story, but we could cut it, is I know it pisses you off, is don't wake Coach O up when he's sleeping. We were coming back. I think we were visiting the White House after a national championship. And there was a player on a team. He had a buddy of mine, Matt Lemos. I don't know if you remember Matt. He was like a walk-on, didn't play much. And everybody was in the back having a good time. The season was over. We had won the Natty. We were just getting done visiting the president. I think it was Bush at the time. Some of the guys are having drinks in the back, and they're just laughing up. And all of a sudden, somebody says something, and Lemos starts laughing his ass off. Well, about a minute later, you come down, and you're like, "You mother, Lemos, you." And like, he's like, "What, coach?" He's like, where do you live? Like, what's your address? He goes, "Los Angeles." Like, what is your address? And he goes, "Why do you ask, coach?" He's like, because I'm going to send you a dead horse's head in your bed right before I kill your motherfucking fucking ass for waking me up. Dude, we were dying. Dude, Levos, he's like, I love Matt. I still talk to him. He's like 5'10", 170. Like, he's just like, what did I do? Everybody's laughing. Everyone's having a good time. But something about how he laughed woke you up. You came back. And again, you were like, what's your address? I'm going to send you a horse's head, baby, before I murder your ass. And I'll still text with him about that. Man. Oh, it's such a good story.
Cool. That's a good story.
All right. Now you're from La Rosa, Louisiana. Your intensity, your competitiveness, were you always like that? Or is that something your parents instilled in you? Like, where does the Coach O come from?
Grew up like that. Man, we grew up in the football. And we had two $25 rental houses. We had a 50-yard line was a sewage ditch, okay? You guys remember we all played in the yard, right? And the out of bounds was the hedges, and the touchdown line was gravel shells. And my cousin was coming over 12 years old. I'm 6. Get in there, tackle. Let's go. Come on with broken nose. Get your ass in there, man. It was competitive. And sports was my only way out. It was that to go work on an oil rig. And nothing wrong with that, but that's not what I wanted to do. And winning was the only option in my house. Don't come home and get your ass whipped now. No, you know what I mean? And I was raised in that atmosphere. Now, the one thing that really helped my career is being in the Jimmy Johnson in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was your big break.
Yeah, well, it formed the type of coach I was going to be. Now, I always was aggressive. I played defense, and I loved being up. I'd fight and do all that kind of stuff. I calm that stuff down. But when I got to Miami and I saw Coach Johnson coach, the intensity level and the players, nobody had to teach me how to coach again.
I remember one of the stories, speaking of intensity, I think we were about to play Notre Dame, maybe my sophomore year, and we hadn't beat them in a while. But we had a good team. I think we were just getting hot. Pete was there. Maybe Carson Palmer's Heisman year, whatever. I think you gave a speech the night before a game, and it was something about if you want something, you got to go get it. And you used a story about a pecan tree with your Can you tell that story? Because I've tried to tell it to my kids now, and I planted 5 pecan trees on my property because of this. Yeah, because of this story. What was the story, and what is the metaphor? What's the lesson of the story?
Well, we were talking about this the other day with my friend. On Sunday, we used to go by Grandma and Grandpa. And you sit underneath the tree, and they would speak Cajun French. All the cousins would be there. We'd run around. It was a blast. Have gumbo, pecan pie, and all that stuff, right? So we had a big pecan tree, pecan. And my grandpa's a big man, and that's where I got my size from. And the pecans are up in the tree, okay? But they're in a shell. It's kind of cool. And you can see where they're opening right there, and all the old ladies, boy, I can't wait, they're talking in French. I can't wait till them pecans fall, man, boy, we got some good pecan pie and all that. Everybody just looking at the pecan. My grandpa, John, viens voir ici, bro. Come here. He spoke French to me. He's one of my best buddies. Ici, si tu veux la pecan là, si tu veux le pecan, faut que tu grimpes le bois. He said, if you want some pecans, climb the damn tree, shake the branch, and they're going to fall. Quit waiting on it. And I did. Everybody,
You gave that speech to the whole team. The song girls were there. I married one of them. The band, the alumni, and we were so fired up, and we went out the next day and beat the shit out of Notre Dame.
You speak about that. You talk about honoring USC traditions. In Heritage Hall, tight. Song girls are there. Y'all dancing with the song girls, but everything was good. A speech. Everybody was all right. It was classy, man. It was something I could never emulate again. I tried to emulate that at the other universities. I could never do that again. Yeah, and remember, I don't know, were you with us when we moved it outside? No, because that was Kiffin's years. Yeah. It was moved outside around the track. Yeah. It was good, but it was nowhere near that right there.
I remember your speech, and then I remember a speech which I share. I've used it at the company I share that Kennedy Pola gave about, is that the best you can do? And I'll have him on. He could tell that story. Let's talk about players. I don't want to make assumptions. What do you look for in identifying a great player? And it can be size, speed, change of direction. And then I want to talk about the mentality standpoint. But talk to me first about the physical characteristics.
Yes.
And then talk to me about the mentality, the mental
Yes.
characteristics.
You know, obviously we had a height, weight, speed, all the characteristics at each position.
Yeah.
Very well identified. And we wanted to fit that mold. But look, man, I learned from Johnson, quarterback, Jimmy Johnson, number one. He can beat you. You got to be smart. And I always look for that. And then he's got to be tough. Smart and tough. That's number one for a quarterback for me, okay? You know, running backs, you know, look at the trunk. From here to here. Look at the trunk. It don't matter. They're 5'9". Look, think about it. What Maurice Jones drew.
I was about to say,
remember our
man,
guy?
he was tough.
Trunk. Look at his trunk.
Yeah.
So look at the big running back. Look at his trunk. So everybody had different things. Coach Johnson would only let us recruit centers and left tackles. Centers and left
Why?
tackles. Yes, center, athletic,
Yeah.
left tackle athletic. Hey, we'll get some defensive linemen. They can't play. Move the offensive line. They're going to be better. He wanted athletic people. And I learned that from him. Safeties to linebackers the defensive end. But then again, you know, Cortez Kennedy and Russell Maryland came in at 335 and 350. They got another 285 and nobody could block them.
Yeah.
Uh,
BKU, Kenichi Udezi.
that's why I did it. Exactly what you're saying right there.
Him and I were in the same class. He was 350.
Exactly.
So strong, but heavy.
Yeah.
And he had a tough first camp, dude. I think he almost died. Like we had to pack him in ice after practice. Like we had to bring him in on a stretcher, pack him with ice. It's a true story. It was different back in the day. But you had a conversation with him and he dropped like 70 pounds in 6 months. And his redshirt freshman year, unblockable.
Mike Patterson, same thing.
Mike P.
But it was my experience from watching those guys. Warren Sapp was a tight end. So my point is, your brother, in my experience, nobody has come out of high school, going to campus, rip their shirt off with an S on the chest, start kicking ass. You have to be able to have a vision of what other players look like, but do they move? Do they do the specific skills that you need in each position? And it took a lot of work to do that. And then you're in Los Angeles, you got to go to them schools, man. A defensive lineman, I was watching Lawrence Jackson. Y'all remember Lawrence Jackson? Lawrence Jackson, I was recruiting, and there was a line, and they were hitting a sled. He got 1 rep out of 20 on a sled. 20 kids got 1 rep. Now, how's he supposed to develop? So you got to look at where they come from, or they develop, or they not develop. There's a lot of work that goes into it. I think that we're learning from Johnson and learning from Coach Carroll, and then applying what I knew from everybody else helped me out.
What about the mentality standpoint? The thing, you can't measure it. And again, I'll speak from my experience at SC. And Billy, you probably saw some. There are guys who came in, look like Tarzan, play like Jane, right? And then there are other guys, Mike P was one. I'll speak for myself. When I first saw Mike, I was like, and he didn't have all the physical characteristics, but just a great player. Like, how would you in a limited, and again, this is important for business leaders when you're hiring for a position or you're thinking about, hiring someone in for maybe an executive level, you only have a couple interviews. When you're recruiting, you only got so much time with recruit. You could watch tape, but how did you try and evaluate their mental toughness and who they were in terms of like the mentality as opposed to just the physical characteristics?
First of all, when I went to school, I want to get my feet in the grass. Let me go. I'm gonna talk to the guard, the police guard. I'm gonna see who he comes to school with. How does he step out of that? Is he smelling something funny?
Mm-hmm.
Is he hanging around bad people? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go to the guidance counselor. How many classes he miss? Is he a good student? How's he doing? And then I want to get him on the field with me doing my drills. And I want to test him. Remember, our camps were tough. Remember Ryan Khalil?
Yeah.
He came, he had his nose on the other side of his face, and we were recruiting Jeffrey Byers. Said, well, this is the first camp. You did pretty good. You got to come to the second one. And he just looked at me like, are you kidding me? Came back and kicked ass. But we wanted to put guys in a competitive atmosphere and see what they did. Most of the time, can't say all the time, we didn't get a guy at camp, he ended up being a good player because they didn't want to come and compete. So getting them around, and look, being around people, unofficial visits, and if you're in business or not, Hey, you may be recruiting them, but guess what, man? We find out about you too. I'm watching everything that they do.
One of the things, Bill, you and I were talking about, just we consider you to be the best motivational coach ever.
Thank you.
And just in how you motivated to get the best out of people. And by people, what do you say? Not even just the players,
The
just
whole organization, right? The recruiting staff, the lunch ladies loved you, right?
Thank you.
Like everybody it was one heart,
Yeah.
one team. Like how,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
how did you do that? Like what advice would you have for leaders, whether it's coaches or business people, to get the most out of everybody? Like what is the key to that?
Well, first of all, when you step up as a leader, you guys know this, you're transparent. The team sees right through you. Your workers, they know you. You got to be yourself, man. Do not lie to them or try to, they ain't gonna happen. Go up there and be you. I think that is the number one thing to get people to understand who you are. Now, it's not about you. Get to know them, man. You know, what makes them tick. Everybody's different. You know what I'm saying? But when you at a school at USC, when you're at a school at LSU, and the expectations are great, and you come in and you want to be an NFL football player, those are the motivation. Two things I think has got to happen. I hope y'all, if you get one thing from me today is this. Number one, the player must know you love him and you care about him. If he thinks for 1 minute that you don't give a shit about him, when times get tough, you know what he's going to tell you? Thank it, okay? He's got to know you care about him. Just like a parent, tough love. Next thing is, the player has to know, and you have to show him that you have the knowledge to get him to where he wants to go. He shows up every day, he's going to get better. That's why he came to you. And if you have that relationship, you're going to be fine.
So the first part is you have to care and they have to know you care. And the second is the actual knowledge on how to take him where he wants to go.
And you know, Kyle, somebody talked to me about this the other day. Not only the actual knowledge, the application of knowledge. You can know something, but you got to apply it. A lot of people know it and they talk about it, but apply it daily.
You, as a coach, you reach the college football coach, you're a head coach and you win a national championship. And at 15-0, unanimous, there's no contest. What did that feel like to hold that crystal ball up in that night? And then I want to ask you what it felt like the next morning or a week later. Like, let's start with when the game was ending and you get the day, like, what did that feel? I mean, that is the peak of your profession.
Thank you.
Like,
Thanks for asking that.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a great question. First of all, driving up to the Superdome where I was born, wow. Mm-hmm. And look, you got a team now. Hey, you driving up with your guns loaded now. Hey, hey, we're going to win. It ain't not, if we're going to win, we're going to win. And look, you can imagine, okay? But you know what? I got to keep it intact, right? And then after that, when I held up the trophy, one of the things I knew, see, when I was a young boy, I went to a thing called the Cajun Festival. And we heard Charlie McClendon was going to be there, the head coach of the LSU Tigers. And it was like, wow. So my dad had a couple of pops. He thought he was the damn governor, you know? So he goes find Charlie McClendon. He brings him over. And I'm 8 to 10 years old. Hello, young man. My name is Charles McClendon. I'm the head coach at the Louisiana State University fighting LSU Tigers. I thought I was talking to God. I mean, I saw this man on TV. He came shake my hand. He was my favorite coach ever since. So when I became the head coach at LSU, I understood the position.
The power.
Not me, the power. And I was going to include everybody in the state of Louisiana, just like Pete taught us, one team, one heartbeat. Mm-hmm. And so when I picked up that trophy, it was like for us. And people were powerful. And man, it helped us. And you just felt the energy. It was something else, but it was real. And you mentioned something about the next day. I get emotional, I think about it. So the next day, we're going home. And look, I have an interview. And there's a lot of people in there right now. Everybody probably went to Bourbon Street and probably nobody slept. I was the only one that went to sleep. And they asked me in the interview to say, Coach, what do you have to say about the people that were negative towards you and said that you'd never do it? I said, tell them thank you. I said, I use that as internal motivation. And I just, instead of responding to them, I went, hey, don't start being nice to me now. Keep on doing it. So we're going home, right? I mean, the interstate is crazy. I mean, they're moving on the interstate. Louisiana is going nuts. And so we on the interstate, we go down this Highway 30. There are the plants, there's the restaurants, there's all the guys that are welders and cooks on the side of the road. And everybody was happy. And, that's the way I was raised. That was my people. And man, for me, it was gratifying.
How do you, so incredibly gratifying, very moving. I mean, what a celebration. And not just for you individually, but your community, your state, where you're from, Louisiana.
Yep.
How do you stay motivated after you've won a championship? But let me take a step back. And I think I talked to Coach Carroll about this. I remember randomly I was talking to him when I was at SC, and he was telling me how he used to have breakfast with Coach John Wooden or something, Coach Wooden. And he posed a question to Coach Wooden: is it harder to build a championship team, or is it harder to maintain a championship team? And Coach Wooden said to maintain it, because you've already done it. Like, what else is there to do? And Pete said at the time, he's like, I disagreed. I was like, no, it's harder to build it because you have to sell a story. You haven't accomplished it yet. There's no proof of concept. And one of the things Pete talked about was, after having established a championship roster at USC and then in Seattle, I think what he said was his belief changed, is that it's actually harder to maintain because, okay, we did it. Did you ever have, heading into the next year after LSU, like you won it, you held up the crystal ball, like what motivated you then?
Yeah.
Because, and maybe they, you're always going to find something negative somebody said about you, like we all do, but we're like, no, Coach O is the best coach and he accomplished that. Like, was there a moment where you're like, okay, what gets me is motivated now that you've done it? I'll
tell you the moment. So we go to the White House, we do all that stuff, right? Then they have a parade on campus, man. Wow, parade. It's like a Mardi Gras parade. Now, what are we doing? Freaking campus was packed. And the people were out, and this hit me. I passed near Tiger Stadium. And instead of celebrating, I said, oh my God, I got to walk in there without Joe Burrow next year. The first time I did, man. So I was like, Joe Brady left. I lost 19 people to the NFL. 19 people. And you know what those guys are doing. You see the power that those guys had.
Yeah.
Juniors were going out, Patrick Queen, Jamar Chase, all those guys. I said, okay, I was really in a mode where not even the mode I was in the championship mode, I was hungrier then to replace those guys. I didn't make the right decisions when I tried to replace Joe Brady. It didn't work well. Dave Aranda left. Great coach. It didn't work out. The guy, So my decisions that I made, and it's all on me, I got to take the responsibility. I lost a lot of people. And that's part of having success, right? Mm-hmm. I was not prepared. I didn't have my roster set up to replace Joe Burrow. And who does? Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. So those are the things that I could have. I was so focused in on doing the task at hand and winning that championship. And then the next day it all hit me. I think I'd have been better prepared.
And is it just recruiting or having a deeper bench? Like, how do you even do that? Because you lose that talent. I don't want to say it's impossible, but you're gonna slide. You're
gonna slide. Yeah. I just think that I could have had a list of coaches. I never thought I was going to lose Joe Brady. I thought he could be the head coach. I thought he'd be a coordinator and a head coach in college. And he's going to be that. He's at the Bills. And Steve Esminger did a great job that year. I didn't do a good job of having a list of defensive coordinators. That was something that I didn't do a good enough job.
Speaking of recruiting, give us some crazy recruiting stories. Maybe from SC, from LSU, from Miami, a story that maybe I wouldn't know being at SC. Tell us like a couple of the crazy recruiting stories you ever heard.
Okay, Coach Kiffin, me and my boy. Now he was the out-of-state recruiter. Okay,
who's a better recruiter, you or Lane?
Phenomenal.
Well, who's better, you or Lane?
I was better in California. He was better out of state. How about that? Is that good enough?
Yeah.
Lane does a great job, man. I love him. I love him to death. He worked hard, man. So, what was the name of the receiver we got from Ohio? Freddie. He moved to tight end, won the Biletnikoff Award. Anyway, so we're going to Ohio, and Coach calls me, and I'm in Florida, and it's snowing. He says, Coach, I need your help. And you know, my experience of getting guys eligible and doing all that stuff helped. You know, he's a young coach. He didn't know exactly some of the things that we could get done. So I fly up to Ohio, okay? Freddie ended up winning he was the best tight end in the country.
Yeah. Number
Fred
83.
Davis?
Freddie Davis.
Fred Davis.
Fred Davis.
Fred Davis, okay.
He came in as a receiver, as Jack, but
That's
he was tight end. He had a good NFL career. Yeah.
And, you know, Lane did a good job of doing that stuff. So he says, Coach, I said, Lane, we got to get Fred in school on Monday. He says, Coach, it's snowing and the frickin' school's closed and the coach is a Ohio State guy. I can't get the transcript and we can't get him. Because if he wasn't sitting in the classroom by Monday, he was a video graduate. He wasn't sitting in Monday, he couldn't get into school and he was going to go to Ohio State. I said, I'm coming. So we go up there, man, and it's snowing. It's snowing. The school's closed. Coach always taught us to compete, right? Compete. So we start knocking on the windows. Hey, what's going on, man? Anybody in there? Old janitor comes up, man. Hey, what y'all doing? Hey, USC, man. Hey, how y'all doing? And now the coach was a big Ohio State guy. He wasn't gonna let this transcript go, right? And I said, hey, man, you let us in the guidance office? Oh, sure, Coach, come on over. Like, on the guidance office. And we look, and we couldn't find that, but we called the person that was in charge of Fred Davis. And we said, hey, we need this transcript. Could you please come give it to us? The school is closed. We need to get him to school on Monday. He goes, sure. He comes. We get the transcript, and we haul ass out of school. Now, I get the transcript to USC. He gets admitted. Okay, Fred Davis gets on a plane. He comes to school, and he's sitting in class on Monday.
And so you and Lane were in a high school guidance office rifling through like files, trying to find his transcript.
We're trying to find some numbers. So anyway, look, this is the best part of it. So Fred's, sitting there and in class. So the coach was not going to come. The coach was going to make him go to Ohio State. I mean, he was an Ohio State guy the whole way, right? So he calls Lane. He goes, hey, man, we haven't seen Fred at school today. Do you know where he's at? Lane goes, yeah, he's sitting in class at USC. What a great story, man, about competing, man.
He went on to win the Mackey Award, right?
That's right, the Mackey Award, that's right. But, that was... that goes to show you that we put all of our knowledge together. Guys, we threw our ego out the way. We just want to get players.
And then you touched on it to Coach Carroll's philosophy, like always compete, which means like don't accept, like no, like we're gonna figure this out.
Yeah, some other guys would have said, hey, school's closed. No way we can get the transcript. We ain't gonna get them. No,
Man, you ever think what happened to that poor janitor? He probably on Monday was like to the coach, like, yeah, some SC guys were here. So crazy. I let them in. They grabbed some papers and he probably was like, they took him out back.
Yeah.
I think that janitor ate him a good steak dinner that night.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
If you have any other stories, like, and then also, what was the one that got away?
Adrian, all the way.
Peterson.
Adrian Peterson. Love him. I saw him the other day. And we had a relationship, man. We were close.
And he wanted to come to SC.
Yeah. Yeah. So we go there. And first of all, we went to his mother was a great track star, I think, at Houston. I'm not sure, but she was, and I remembered her. And she's a wonderful lady. And Adrian lived, in a little house, just him and his mom. I think they had a kerosene lamp in there. And I'm from the South. I'm used to that, right? And I bring Coach Carroll in there. Coach Carroll smelled that. He goes, that is that gas. Oh, we're going to blow. I said, Coach, we're going to be fine, man. So anyway, Adrian and I had, man, he came, he wanted to go, and then he says, I said this story before. He says, Coach, I got a problem. I said, what? He said, my daddy's incarcerated. And he's in Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas. They had a little circle, they had a prison there. He said, Bob Stoops says, go and see him. I said, well, me and Pete's gone. And they wouldn't let me and Pete in. So I go talk to him. We were at school. I said, Coach, I want to go to USC, but my daddy can't watch me play at USC. I said, what, they show Oklahoma games? Yeah, you can watch Oklahoma games there. I said, what if your daddy could watch USC games? He said, Coach, I'm coming, if you can do that. Okay. So I go back to Los Angeles. I tried. I went to the mayor. I had some guys that I knew, some influential people, to get his daddy moved from prison to Arkansas, Texas, to LA. I tried my butt off, man. I just couldn't do it.
Who were some of the coaches, or what was a school or a coach that was a really, really stiff competitor to recruit against? Like, who are some of the guys when you knew you're in a recruiting battle, you're like, okay, that coach is going to bring it. He's going to be tough.
Yeah. When we was at USC, it was Florida State and Notre Dame. Florida State was getting, you remember Lorenzo Booker, the name Lorenzo Booker?
Yeah. St. Bonaventure.
Yeah, from St. Bonaventure, right?
Yeah,
he went there, Bobby Bowden was still there. And I mean, they were coming plucking, and then Notre Dame, they were plucking our best players. So it was not necessary at that point, it was the schools. I mean, those schools were tough, and guys would lose them. Then all of a sudden, Oregon started coming with Nike. You remember the Black Mamba, the Mambo? We lost them, and it just, stuff creeps in, And then when I went to LSU, no question, it was Alabama. I mean, you got to watch them. I mean, every second, but they competed just like we did. They were the best recruiters I've ever been against.
What were there any schools or coaches that you felt weren't recruiting within the rules, where like it created frustration, or like?
Yeah, all of them in the SEC. Hey, there was some stuff going on. We knew it, but hey, they didn't get caught. Players would tell us about it. The one thing, Kyle, I'm from Louisiana, and I told them, guys, I'm not giving you $1. I got a $42 million contract. I love you, man, but I ain't chancing it. And I knew I'm one of these guys. I do something, I'm gonna get caught. And other guys that systems, I guess, did some things that were beneath the table, but they never got caught.
I got to ask this question as an SC guy. What happened to us? What was it, 2010 when Lane got there? To me, is criminal how SC was treated by the NCAA and putting us on years of probation and losing scholarships and all that. And again, they said, oh, we should have known. The thing with Reggie, it wasn't a booster. It was somebody far away. And to this day, I feel like it was just, they were tired of seeing SC win, and they were just like, we got to figure out a way to get rid of these guys. Like, what am I missing there?
When you get investigated by the NCAA, you walk in there, your hands are tied, man. They've got a decision that they made. They come and get you. But by the time you got interviewed, it's over. You know what I mean? And they decide that they wanted to penalize USC, like you said. And a lot of times they make wrong decisions. Look what they're doing now. You're making players are getting paid. It's just, before when you went to school and it was a quiet period and you shook a kid's hand, they threatened to fire your ass. Mm-hmm. And now they paid him. So it just wasn't just unequal. And I think you're seeing that. I think it was very unfair to USC. I think it was very unfair to take Reggie the Heisman Trophy away, all the scholarships. I think that was a very harsh penalty.
We're still trying to recover.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah. All right, give me one SC story that I don't know, even though I was a player. What was something that happened that we weren't aware of that looking back now would seem crazy? Like,
well, you aware of, but I think one of the things that was critical, Coach Carroll comes up to me, and we were going through fourth quarter stuff and all. He goes, Eddie, I need a big rope. Coach Carroll would call me, he'd be going home, and he said, Eddie, turn it to AM 5 something. I said, why, Coach? They're talking about UFOs. I said, Coach, I got enough more about it. I don't want to hear that stuff. Coach was,
Yeah, his brain works differently.
Yeah. So I knew the guys. Y'all remember the little fire department right before you turn into SC?
Yeah.
I said, hey, Look, man, I bought donuts for police officers. I found out when y'all was in trouble before you knew it. I went to the firemen. I bought them donuts and talked to them. I sent them jambalaya from Louisiana. So I went over there. I said, hey, man, I need a big rope. Coach, we got it. So I don't know if you remember this. Coach Carroll said, we're going to meet in the Coliseum at midnight. And I said, Coach, what? He said, Eddie, just listen to me. He said, I want everybody there. So he put on the lights, and he said, Eddie, you got the rope? I said, yeah, the policeman going to bring, I mean, the fireman going to bring it for you. Go, okay. I'm like, what is he up to? And do you remember that night?
Yeah.
So we go in there, and everybody's in there, and he don't tell nobody. And he makes the running backs go against the linebackers. Who wins? Oh, running back. Hey. O-line deal. Oh, everybody's starting to look around, right? Then he has the administration, right? And he goes, guys, when we pull against each other is when we lose. I want everybody to get on the same side of the rope. We just pulled that rope. And I remember we got back to back. He says, listen, we don't ever have to lose another game in this Coliseum again if we stay this tight.
Yeah.
That was a very, very powerful deal. Now, let me tell you one that you don't know. All right. Now, this was his way. Notre Dame, you kind of want to make it too big. Playing Notre Dame, boys. Coach Carroll was, every game's got to be like that intensity. But Notre Dame was special, as we all know. And boy, we were having 9-on-7, and I was on. He goes, Eddie, come here. He says, look at the fence. I'm so focused on, look at the fence. I said, Coach, next play. So I'm going to play, and you want us to run? I'll come back. I look at the fence, and they had a thing like that, a white thing. Huh? He goes, I think we were visited last night by UFOs. I said, God, no, Coach. But that was his way. That was his way of getting me calm
Loosen
down.
up, yeah.
Instead of just saying, Eddie, shut up and calm down. You're making it too big. That was his way of.
Yeah, he was amazing because it was such a high pressure, high intense program. And then, in my opinion, Pete knew exactly when to make a joke out of it.
Exactly.
Whether it was the guy jumping off the roof or I remember one time we were in the middle of camp and, it's just camp halfway through. Everybody's just wearing on each other. And he was like, we could either go do the second practice or we could get on the buses and go down the beach. And we go down the beach. And so Pete was great. It was an awesome time. Billy, did I miss anything?
No, that was a lot. That was great.
Yeah. I can't thank you enough for the influence you had on us, when we were at SC, and I'm excited to see what you do. And I can't wait to see where you go because I'm gonna be hitting you up for tickets.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to tell you, I'm proud of y'all, man. To see y'all grow as part of being a coach, to be able to tough love like a parent, that's some of the hardest things you have to do. To see you grow. And then, you met your wife in the office. Mm-hmm. You met your wife, the song girl, which I don't blame you. I haven't seen them, but I like the song girls too, right? And then, man, y'all got beautiful families, and y'all have a successful business, and you're using the principles that you learn from your parents and that you learn at USC and applying them. And then you better give them to your children and carry on that tradition, man. What a great deal.
Yeah, we speak for Bill, you too, and not just obviously with our kids, but at the company, like it's all about competition. It's all about protecting the team. Now we don't have a ball, so I can't make it all so about the ball and turning the ball over. But yeah, so much of what we learned, working around you and learning from you and Coach Carroll, like we apply it every day, and it makes a big difference in our little industry of real estate. But it's not as exciting as football, but we're excited to see you get back out there, and then hopefully I'll send one of my boys to come play for you in a couple of years, toughen them up.
I'll take my heart. Hey, what about jump ball on Friday? Remember jump ball on Friday?
Yeah,
was that crazy stuff? Yeah. Jump ball on Friday, then beating the drum, one team, one heartbeat. Yeah. And then we'd be sitting in Heritage Hall, which I thought was phenomenal. And one of y'all go get the drum. Just during the day on Tuesday, do. Yeah. And just everybody, nobody said nothing off. Like, We're all connected, man.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
It was like a war drum, you know.
Okay.
And then again, it gets back to you and KP, man, and Coach Polo. Like, I over the years, I'm like, they probably like game plan this, but like, you would come in and just when we like, first of all, like, I remember you'd punch like we had a projector, you'd punch it, and then like KP would. What do you do before a fight? Take your shirt off. Everyone's taking a shirt off. Then he threw like a chair through the glass, you know, and it just getting after it, having fun, winning games, but competing, giving the best doing the best and giving the best we could.
Hey, it was a special time. And again, we had special times other places, and we still have special times ahead.
That's what I'm saying.
As long as we keep on applying those principles.
And so, we hope to see you next fall coaching.
No question. I'm going to be somewhere.
All right.
Sack fumble, baby. There we go. Gator bait.
Gator bait. Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all, man. Proud of you guys.
You too.